start reading Toll the Hounds, I realized I didn't shoot an intro for this vlog video, so I'll make this quick because I want to read. Anyway, I'm starting Toll the Hounds. It's been 7 months since I finished Reaper's Gale. I take my Malazan reads and I put them a place where I have a lot of time to read, because it does take me longer to read these. I read these a little slower than most of the things I read, so I don't like to be bogged down by work and things like that. So I only have, I'm off work for the summer, and I do have a gig on Friday, so, but that's the only thing on the calendar for the next like 10 days. So because of that, I have lots of time to read, so I'll probably read once or twice a day, you know, an hour or two at a time. So it's about 900 pages. It'll take me, I mean, at least a week. But anyway, what's interesting about Toll the Hounds is when I just recently put this on my TBR video and got a lot of comments. I love that so many people are excited to see, you know, my thoughts on this. But what's so interesting is just the mixed reception of this book. A lot of people just have it as their least favorite. Some people have it as their absolute favorite. Some people it's somewhere in the middle. But a lot of really good feedback. But what I really liked about the comments, and I appreciate if any of you are those commenters, but I think it gave me the right kind of expectations as to what the story's about. Like, Sarab was real clear about how it's a very slow-moving plot, and you just kind of have to just let the book be what it is. Someone else had mentioned that this was right around the time when I think Erikson's father had passed away, so there's a lot of kind of meditation on grief and things like that. So I'll just take the book for what it is, but it's just so interesting to me, this back half of the series since Midnight Tides, that so many people have so many disparate views of these books. But anyway, I'm excited to dig in. I'm gonna jump in right now. And here's Toll the Hounds. Obviously, this will be a spoiler vlog. When I start actually talking about the book, I will be definitely doing spoilers, because I mean it's book 8 in a book series. So if you haven't read it, thanks for watching this month, and this much. I guess I'll see you in the next video. Oh, that lighting's bad. So it is. I was so unprepared to start the vlog. I was so excited to start the book that. So yesterday's update was a Monday. My apologies for having the phone the wrong way. It's probably going to look bad in the video, but anyway. Today's Tuesday. It's Tuesday afternoon. I just finished book 1. I read a bit more than anticipated yesterday, just because I was really enjoying it. I mean, it's been 6 or 7 months. December, I guess, was when I read the last one. November. I forgot how much I like the writing of Erikson. There are a couple really beautiful passages at the ends of chapters here that I just really enjoyed, where he kind of takes the narrative voice of like somebody looking down on all of it and removing the names and just kind of saying who the people are and where they are. I mean, just gorgeous writing. Really enjoyed that. I hadn't realized how much I had kind of missed Jenna Bacchus and Darujhistan in particular until we were there. And right away, I thought the book was compelling, with the bridge burners being, you know, targeted for assassination or what have you. And my thoughts are, don't mess with my bridge burners. And then my second thought is, haven't they been through enough? I mean, geez, they were just wiped out at the end of Memories of Ice. And I guess that it's nice to kind of be back there again, because it's almost like revisiting, you know, kind of some old friends that you really enjoyed, and we haven't seen them for a while because the other books have not been in this particular setting. And just like the urban setting, I liked seeing all the factions about, and I'm most curious to see, you know, Cutter being back, you know, formerly Crocus, seeing him back on in Darujhistan. I'm really curious to see where that goes. So Traveler / Dassam. So I don't think I picked up on those connections, that they were one and the same until this book. So I don't know if I just missed that. I know, like with all Malazan, like there are things that I'm just going to miss, and I'm at this point, you know, just at peace with it. I'm just along for the ride. But that was interesting. I really liked the scene with him and Cotillion and Shadowthrone. That was really good. I liked that character initially, you know, when he killed the bear and all of that. So that's interesting. I'm curious to see what's going on with this Namander thing. His group, which has Clip, who, of course, I hate, but now he's like in this coma or something, so we'll see what's going on with that. We've already seen kind of, I don't know, prevalence of more gods. We keep getting referenced the dying god. I'm not sure which god that is. So just curious where this is going. You know, as a story, I knew it wouldn't be going super fast, so I'm just kind of enjoying kind of scene by scene. But to be honest, it is pretty spread out already and doesn't have a whole lot of momentum. But I've still read like 200 pages in, you know, less than 24 hours. So, you know, I'm gonna press on and just keep reading. I'll probably read another chapter this afternoon. I think I'm just gonna hit stop and read another chapter, and then I'll probably read some tonight before I go to bed. But I don't know if I'd mentioned, you know, how long I want to take for this. I generally kind of in my mind just think about 100 pages a day for Malazan when I'm not working is kind of you know, a realistic goal, and it would take me kind of 9 days to finish this book. Day one, I read like 140 pages. I actually stopped mid-chapter because I was tired, but, you know, we'll see if this takes less than the 9 days I have allotted. I can take up to 11 days before a trip, and I definitely want to finish it before my next travel because this is like way too big to carry on a flight. It's much easier to have a small paperback or a Kindle or something when I travel. But anyway, I mean, I don't know if that's a whole lot to report at this point because the story is just kind of spread out and, you know, almost like the whole first book, just trying to get my footing at what's going on. So I don't know, but I'm enjoying it. So it's good to be back reading Erikson's awesome prose. More later. So it's Wednesday afternoon. I read, let's see, 300 pages. I read quite a bit more yesterday. So the things I'm liking, I like a lot of the little scenes because there's really not, I mean, it's hard to see a big picture, which I think is common with a Malazan book, but I think even more so here. We are really spread out, not geographically. I mean, we're all on Genebacus, but we're spread out as far as a lot of stories going on. But some of the things I enjoyed, probably my favorite scene, and it's like it's a little nothing scene, but it's the scene with Duiker talking to the bard, and then Duiker, you know, him relaying that Duiker had did the Chain of Dogs story once, and he's been unable to write it down. And then the bard saying, well, tell it to me so that it can live on, you know, as a bard, as a more oral history tradition of storytelling. And then the bard at the end says his name's Fisher, which we've seen Fisher in all of the epigraphs, probably since the beginning of the series, or at least for a long time. I mean, I've recognized the name right away. And that was a cool little wrinkle. That's probably been my favorite scene in the whole thing so far. The stuff with Namander at the ending was really interesting at the ending of this section that I read, I should say. When we got to, you know, him like imprisoned in the ice, and then what happened in there with that character building the tower, and then he gets out and no time had passed. That was an interesting little scene. Let's see, what else? I don't know what's going to go on with this Traveler character, but that he's scared that he's going to meet Karsa. And I'm glad that, you know, I guess whichever Warren Karsa went through, he's going to be he got spit out into this continent. But he just wants to go north and, you know, kind of rule over his people. But, I mean, Karsa is just a scene stealer for me. I just really love the confidence of that character. How he just, you know, doesn't matter if there's 100 people. He's like, you know, do what I say, I'm going to kill all of you. And you believe that he will. So I like that character. But it is meandering. But I wouldn't say that this narrative being meandering has like lessened my enjoyment of it. I'm really enjoying it. And someone on the Discord had pointed out, I'd mentioned just the how much I'm loving those passages at the end of a lot of the chapters, and it's Krupp, which I just missed that in the prologue where it was him. Kind of the flowery chapters. I went back. I like the little things. The Erikson infuses humor here and there. Like, I just went back to the Dramatist's Personae, and he explains Krupp as like a round little man. Doesn't tell you anything about him. But I love those little bits of humor that are just, it's almost like an Easter egg in there. Like, Krupp is a lot more than just a round little man. But I haven't seen a whole lot of him. We only saw in what I read yesterday, which was from about page 140 to about page 300. We only saw Cutter once. So I'm really intrigued to see what's going to happen with him being back in Darujistan and seeing the fallout of that. Seeing some of the things from the end of Memories of Ice kind of playing out, like Itkovian perhaps being this redeemer god and him not being a good god because he can't keep the people following him in line. So that's kind of an interesting wrinkle. And then seeing that this dying god is indeed a child. So I don't know what that is. And I just wonder, is it just me that, because every time like I miss something and someone points it out, I'm like, oh yeah, I should have remembered that. Is it just there's so much going on in these series that it's hard to pick up on it unless you know, or you've reread, or you've really delved deep. And I think also I looked back just to see, and I think it was 4 years ago that I read Gardens of the Moon for the first time. Maybe it was 3 years, but I think it was June. So it's been a while since I started the series, because I did kind of quit in the middle briefly. But I just wonder if the things I'm missing, if that's a universal miss or just like I suck. I don't know. But excuse me, just had lunch. I'm enjoying it. It's not the most compelling Malazan book so far, but it doesn't feel slow like Reaper's Gale did. Maybe because there are so many stories and we're bouncing around so much, it doesn't feel like I'm missing certain stories. Even though, like I mentioned, I do want to see Cutter more. I do want to see the Bridge Burners more and to see who's after them. But anyway, I'm just kind of along for the ride. But I'm going to get back at it. I would imagine that I'll probably read, at least another 100 pages today. I'm averaging 150 a day, so we'll see how it goes. I'll probably, unless something big happens, I might just jump in at the end of book 2, which may happen this afternoon. I don't know how many pages, I forget from the table of contents. But anyway, that's my update. I'm 300 pages into Toll the Hounds. So it's Thursday afternoon. I just finished book 2. Chapter 11 was rough. Seeing the Bridge Burners get attacked and so many deaths. The Mallet death, I think, was probably the hardest because he kind of had a few things there. I mean, we've known him for a long time, but then the end of his death where he sees Whiskey Jack. Ugh, man. And then when we changed POVs and you saw that kind of Mallet smiled at the end, man, that was rough. And then later, when someone's like, "Oh, just get Mallet to heal him," and then the realization that he's gone, that was tough. The narrative as a whole is it's definitely slow, and it's got a lot of passages of a lot of density. I noticed in chapter 12 in particular, there was a lot of, I don't know if you call it exposition drop or philosophy drop or what's going on, but there was a lot going on, especially in the Namander storyline when they're in that city of Bastion. And then I don't totally understand what's going on with, I just forgot her name, former high priestess of the Redeemer, who's now somehow Celind, how she's somehow with the dying god. So I don't understand what's going on with that, or the Kellic. And then I did enjoy at the end of this chapter the scene of Itkovian. Itkovian was just I mean, his ending in Memories of Ice to me is still one of the most impactful things that's happened in this series. You know, I've been thinking about this book a lot when I'm not reading it, because it's, you know, it's kind of my main thing right now. I'm reading a lot, obviously, to be 450 pages into this thing. What's interesting to me is that I feel that it's probably, like, from a story standpoint, the slowest of all the books, but it doesn't feel as slow as probably, like, Reaper's Gale was probably the one where that was my biggest complaint with that book, was that the narrative was slow because we were anticipating something. And I think here, because I don't know where the story's going, like, I'm kind of okay with how slow it is, because I'm not anticipating, for, like in that book, you know, the final confrontation that we've been waiting for 900 pages between Karsa and Roulade. You know, that book, we were waiting and waiting and waiting, and we were just kind of marking time until we got there. Here, I guess, because I don't know where the story's going, that I guess I'm okay with the pacing. I still feel the writing is some of the most accomplished I've seen from Erikson. I love when he shifts into that Krupp narrator voice, and it's flowery and it's a little over the top, but I love strong narrative voices. That's one thing I love about my favorite author, Guy Gabriel Kay, is I love, especially in his books, where he does have that very strong historical lens, and it just adds a weight to what you're reading. And I feel that here a lot. It's so interesting to me. It's like I can see both sides of why people love this book, even though we haven't gotten into apparently what's supposed to be an incredible ending. But I can kind of see why people could think both spectrums, because from a plot standpoint, like, 2 or 3 things have happened in 450 pages. But from a story standpoint, we're getting a lot of breadth that I suspect will pay off when things come together. I don't know. I'm just curious to see where it goes. So it's Thursday afternoon. I think I mentioned that. I'm going to read a little bit. I have an appointment in like an hour, so I'll probably read maybe half of a chapter and then head out. Tomorrow I actually have a gig during the day, so reading will probably slow down a little bit today into tomorrow, depending on how long I read tonight. But I'm probably, you know, ahead of where I thought I'd be. But I'm enjoying it, and I'm kind of just, I was about to use the word flabbergasted. There was a hilarious line in here where Krupp was talking how he was gasted of flabber, and it made me laugh out loud. I put it on the Discord too. So I am gasted of flabber, that as slow as the story seems here, that I'm just 100% content with it. So more soon. So setting up the camera, it's to shoot another video. So I figured I'd do my vlog post with actual microphone. Anyway, it is Saturday morning, and I didn't read much Thursday, so I didn't do a Friday update, but then I read a good amount yesterday. I am around page 600, so about 2/3 of the way through the book, and I've come to realize a few things about it. Kind of some positive, some negative. Not super negative, but the one thing I realized in this book, I touched upon it a little bit, but I think my thoughts have evolved a little bit more. I've kind of come to the point where I'm just kind of like almost Zen reading. I'm like reading the book and just letting the book be whatever the book needs to be. I'm not putting any expectations into it as far as where the story's going, no expectations as to where I want the story to go. And I think that's really helping my enjoyment of it. Just having kind of that different kind of approach, because most of the times when we read something, we have expectations of where we want the story to go, or what we want the story to do, or where we think it will go. And I'm just kind of just reading and just letting the story go where it's going. So that's been a really good thing, and I think that's actually probably a great bit of advice for the entire series. Maybe when I finally finish this series and do a wrap up, I can talk a little bit more about that, because I haven't felt a huge amount of, wow, this thing is slow. But I will say that, wow, this thing is pretty slow. I mean, we're 600 pages in. I don't know where it's going. I have no idea where it's going. The only hint I got was a scene that I read last night, and I don't even remember who said it, but they said something about seeing, was it Thorvald Nom's wife was with the car, was doing her deck, and she was foreseeing the destruction of Darujistan. So maybe that's what we're building to, with all of these different elements are going to converge in the city, and it's going to be kind of the death knell of the city. I don't know, where we're going, but which is odd. I mean, we're 600 pages in, we're 2/3 of the way through the book, and I still really have no idea exactly where Erikson's leading us. There are some things I'm enjoying just tremendously, and then I've noticed a few of the kind of storylines that just don't really do a whole lot for me. We'll do the negative first. The Nemander group. I mean, I kind of doze off every time I go towards them. I was kind of hoping Clip would die. I didn't like Clip at all, from past book, but yeah, that storyline's doing nothing for me. Animander Rake, and I forgot the guy's name that's kind of following him around, his oldest friend or whatever. Although Animander didn't even remember he was a witness to a major scene that happened thousands of years ago. That storyline's not doing anything for me. They're just talking about all of these events from the past, and I'm sure there's going to be a payoff at some point, but it's not as compelling as a lot of the other things. And then we just got a couple scenes inside the sword, and I'm just like, does that have to be there? I mean, it's really with as spread out as this story is, some of these storylines I'm just like, you could have perhaps ignored that and focused more on some of the more compelling components. For me, the compelling components, there are a lot more of them. So just to flip it to the positive, I do like what's going on with Thorvald Nom and his two like kind of sidekicks, and seeing what's going on with these Segula in this house that they're guarding. Don't know what's going on with that at all. So that's interesting, just kind of seeing that mystery. And of course, the big mystery is, who paid the Assassins Guild to take out the bridge burners. Every time we have a bridge burner scene, I'm just totally all in. I think in the fantasy genre, I'm primarily a character reader, and when I do have characters that I just love and gravitate towards, I enjoy those scenes a lot. And I love kind of the ones that are kind of peripheral to them. Solara, I mean, she's kind of peripheral just because she, was with Duiker, who's with them. I enjoyed those scenes with her quite a bit. Cutter kind of feels lost right now, and I'm enjoying that. I like the Harlow scenes too, so I'm definitely enjoying more than I'm not enjoying. But I'm ready for like this convergence to happen. Oh, and how can I forget? I mean, Karsa and the Traveler, and Karsa, running into Cotillion and Shadow Throne. I mean, that was great. He honestly is such a big personality that he just steals a scene. But I love the kind of Samar Dev, how Traveler's noticing like the conflictedness with her. Like it's like she just wants to hate Karsa, but she's so drawn to Karsa. So I really like that dynamic with her. And that little trio, that's a pretty interesting aspect of the story. But again, it's Saturday. I would anticipate I'll probably finish this Monday or Tuesday. So probably just like 2, maybe 3 more updates, and I'll be to the end. But anyway, that's where I am. And we'll see how the convergence goes and see how this ranks when I get to the very end. So Saturday night, I read a couple chapters and just finished book 3. So making progress. So page 700 is about where I am, 920 pages in the book. So it's like the end's in sight, but there's still not a plot in sight. So I don't know what's going on with that. I'm starting to understand why a lot of people don't like this one. Last 2 chapters. The 2 chapters ago, Snell is like the most evil person in the whole series. just this evil little child, and then Muriello puts him in his place, and then Gorlos kills him. I was so angry with that. Like, so often in this series when you get a truly good character, because there's very few of them, they usually don't last. So anyway, that was 2 chapters ago. And then the last chapter, the end of book 3, like, I'll be honest, there wasn't a single storyline in there that I found compelling. I mean, Clip killing Ketovis at the end, so we kind of see what's going on with that character, but it was like just 50 pages of all of the storylines that I like least. So hopefully we're just getting it out of the way for a great book 4. But anyway, I just wanted to do a quick update. I'm going to read probably a couple more chapters tonight, and then I'll probably update tomorrow. So it's Monday morning, just sipping my coffee, and I wanted to do my final update for Toll the Hounds because I finished it yesterday. I ended up reading like 2 hours after lunch, and then 2 hours last night, and was able to finish it. So I admit I was a little disappointed, and I know this is probably to the consternation of people that love this book. But I wonder if the people that love this book oversold me a little bit, because I kept hearing about this amazing ending, and I liked the ending. But for me, the reason I didn't love the ending is that I mentioned in a previous vlog post that there were certain storylines I found very compelling and certain storylines I didn't. And when we got to the end, the stories that I found literally the least compelling were the story. It was the big story. I mean, even just setting aside that it took too long for the story to emerge. Even just setting that aside, when we got to what this was all about, mainly the Tisty Andy at the end, I wasn't really interested, or at least as interested. So that was a big aspect of me not loving the ending. The other thing that I didn't love about the ending is I didn't feel like Malazan books make me emotional when I get to the end. I remember sitting right here at the end of Memories of Ice, and I kept staring out the window thinking about Itkovian. I didn't feel any of that here, and I feel like I should, like I'm supposed to feel the same way about the end of Animander Rake's story, but I just don't. Maybe because he was such an enigmatic figure that I don't think we ever got a point of view from him. So he was kind of this enigma that was kind of always at arm's length. So his final, sacrifice for redemption or whatever, perhaps it didn't hit me because of that. But, I think about the things in this series that I love, like specifically since I'm talking about the ending here mostly, like Coltine's death, like still hurts, Whiskey Jack, what Itkovian did at the end of Memories of Ice. I mean, so many of these things are just seared into my soul with this series, and I just didn't feel any of that. In fact, like, there were 2 small scenes at the end that made me a little emotional, and that was it. They were Stawny reuniting with Harlow and seeing that maybe she wants to be a mother. So that was a good scene. Really liked that. And then like a meaningless little scene, Monkrat and Spindle. How Monkrat kind of has this epiphany and wants to be a better person because of Spindle, and he tells him, and Spindle doesn't even realize what he did. Like that, scenes like that, I mean, are still amazing, and I love that. But like the big story here, like the Andy storyline just never gripped me. The stuff in Dragnapur I found honestly a bit confusing and not real compelling. The Trigal Trade Guild, that storyline, I mean, all of that, it seemed like those things were just not compelling to me. And so that caused the ending to not be as great as it could be. There were some great moments towards the end. I mean, I loved 3 scenes with Cutter. Cutter had some really good stuff here. The first, when he just kills Gorlos, awesome. Like, it was so great to shut that guy up. That was great. Loved that scene. And then when he is standing down the hounds with Karsa, and he just says, like, hey, what's your name? And Karsa tells him who he is. And what was the line? It was something like, he called himself Crocus, which was significant. He said Crocus, and then he said, I used to be a thief. And Karsa said, well, steal the life of one of these hounds. I mean, such a nice little scene there. I love that. And then Cutter's final scene where he's kind of sailing off with Lady Spite. Perhaps never to be seen again. I mean, you never know with Malazan if we see these characters again. And I did like, it didn't make me emotional, but I did like kind of the happy reunion of Barathol and Solara at the end. That was nice, because again, those are two characters maybe we won't see them again, and perhaps we can just imagine that somebody has a happily ever after. Although we may see them again just to see what goes on with Chower, him being in the Finnest house, kind of in a stasis until they get a healer. I don't know if that'll be something that will happen or not. But you know, it's still a very good book. I mean, I still love this series, even if the last two books are kind of my bottom tier of my enjoyment for this series. If I had the tier rank right now, I just did this on Discord before I turned this on. I would say my S tier is Dead House Gates, Memories of Ice, Midnight Tides. Midnight Tides being my favorite in the series. The A tier would be Gardens of the Moon, House of Chains, and the Bone Hunters, and then probably my B tier would be Reaper's Gale and Toll the Hounds. But I mean, it's still a B tier. You know, it's not like these are bad books. I read some bad fantasy books last month. Toll the Hounds is not a bad fantasy book by any stretch of the imagination. And I think also at this point, just, you know, the way I talked in some of the earlier vlog posts is I know how to read these books and kind of set myself aside and just let the book do what the book's going to do. Certainly helps me. But overall, I mean, I have to be honest, I was a little disappointed when I got to the end. I was hoping to have another one of these just emotional times where I'm giving the vlog post and I'm staring out the window because I can't stop thinking about some of the things. I do look forward to watching AP and Philip's videos to probably show me a lot of the stuff that I missed, because I know all of these books I miss stuff. And perhaps they can reframe some things for me. And speaking of reframing, I'm so looking forward to getting to the end, because I hear so many people just talk about just the experience of rereading and how great that experience is with this series and how the ending can reframe things. And I just had this happen in a different book series that I'll mention here. I just read The Gap Cycle by Stephen R. Donaldson, which is a grimdark space opera. 5 books. The last 3 are pretty big books. And there were some really slow moments in the series, and when I got to the end, the ending was super strong, and for me, it reframed everything, and it made me just rethink everything. So I hope that when I get to the end of this series, perhaps some of these lower points, like Reaper's Gale and Toll the Hounds, for me, maybe I'll look back and have different thoughts about them. Because I know I've just from like my last TBR video and then just some chatter here in the Discord, people do talk about this one being one of the ones that really changes upon a reread. So perhaps that will happen. But as far as I am right now, I mean, it's still a good book. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. So, you know, certainly a solid score. And, you know, I'm still looking forward to finishing the series. But I guess that's it for Toll the Hounds. Anyway, just looking forward, if you're looking to see when those are going to happen, I was told to read Dust of Dreams and Cripple God kind of close to each other. So I am going to read them. There will be about a month, 3 weeks to a month in between them. I'm going to read Dust of Dreams during my Thanksgiving break, which is the last week of November. So I'll have 8 full days off to perhaps read that whole book or most of the book. It seems like I read most of these in a week when I don't have work. So I'll read Dust of Dreams then and finish it around the 1st of December, and then I'll be starting The Crippled God sometime between Christmas and New Year's when I get back from visiting family. That will be my read, so that what I want to do, it hasn't happened yet, but it's been close. I want to someday have a book that I finished at the beginning of the year that's wire to wire my book of the year. And The Crippled God, assuming this schedule sticks, will be my first book that I'll finish in 2027. So I hope it's amazing, and I hope it's my book of the year, because I think it's just kind of cool if you read something that early and it stands that test. But anyway, that's kind of my schedule. But hey, thanks for watching these. I know that the people that watch these are hardcore Malazan fans, and just interacting with all of you and talking with you, like comments here, other videos, also, like the Discord and things like that. You guys really, you really enrich my reading experience through the conversation and the dialogue. And you also don't make fun of me when I miss stuff. So I appreciate that, because I know this is a hard series, and I know that I'm not alone in missing things, but I still feel horrible when I miss stuff, and I miss a lot. But appreciate you not, not making fun of me for that. But anyway, thanks for checking out this vlog. Again, look for the next one in November. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe. You can also follow me on Twitter, Goodreads, and the Fireside Discord. I'd love to interact with you there. As always, thank you for watching. Until next time, goodbye.